Alright, Dragon Ball Daima's 18th episode unveiled a fan favorite transformation, that being Super Saiyan 4. Why was this transformation in Daima, and why do some people love it, and why are some people already hating on it? First of all, why was this form placed into Daima? A few days ago, AKIO IYOKU commented on Dragon Ball Daima, and he mentioned that along with the staff, he wanted to make a series that another generation of Dragon Ball kids could enjoy with their parents. This is important because their parents would have been the generation of Dragon Ball kids who grew up watching GT back in the 90s, and now they get to experience it with their children again, which means they get to experience the badassery of SS4 Goku with their kids. I want to paint a picture for you. Just close your eyes and paint this picture in your head. Try to remember the first time you saw Goku in this form, whether it was on Nicktoons, Toonami, or whatever. Remember how freaking epic that was? Now imagine sharing that moment with your kid. I know. The goosebumps will go away in a few minutes. But, alright, let me get serious for a second. Reason number 2, money. It's all about the money. It's all about money. SS4 is really profitable as hell. You see it everywhere. You see it in the games, it's in the fan art, it's everywhere, bro. And a similar look was almost even used in Battle of Gods. This design was supposed to be with the cape, and it was designed by Tadayoshi Yamamuro, but Toriyama vetoed it, and it just didn't happen. But with the kid SS4 Goku, I want to make a comparison. It's literally just like Vegito coming back to Dragon Ball Super for a few minutes in the same clothes that he wore in the Buu arc, despite Vegeta having different clothes in that point of the series than he did in the Buu arc. Even his role in the story was just like Vegito's. He comes in, beats down the villain for a bit, and then leaves. He disappears. It gets disbanded, right? It's just like, if you know about wrestling, it's kind of like Stone Cold returning to the WWE just to pop a rating or even to pop the crowd. The people just wanted it, which leads to my next point. The fans wanted it. They wanted it just like they wanted Broly, more Saiyans with Universe 6, Trunks, etc. The fans just wanted it. And that's a point that AKIO IYOKU, maybe not Toriyama, because he didn't think that people would know the story of Dragon Ball, but other staff that worked along with AKIO IYOKU knew that the fans would want it. Like I mentioned before, it's everywhere. People were clamoring for it. I'm sure he would get people asking him to bring it back on the series. So many of you guys were talking about bringing SS4 to Super, bringing it back, all this stuff being brought back, which is actually one of the main complaints that I want to bring up. But so many people wanted this transformation for so long, and now you're finally getting it because they know what you want. It's like the perfect storm. You get to bring something in that's fan service and just have it make sense in its presentation, and then it can make you a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But like I mentioned, there were some complaints. And the first complaint I want to bring up is that people are upset that the same ideas in Dragon Ball just keep being retread, which is a common theme of modern Dragon Ball. Over the past decade, it's just been happening over and over again. It started with Frieza and Resurrection F, and it's just been going on forever now. And personally, that's one of only 2 issues I have with this. I do have an issue with the retreads, and that's just an issue. But the other issue I do have is just the constant overloading of transformations. With Daima, it's less egregious than Super, but still, it's technically not really a new transformation, but it is. But I digress. The point is, it's gotten really repetitive, right? It's been overused. It's just beating that dead horse, hamster on a wheel here, But that's just the tip of the iceberg. It really didn't serve much of a purpose in the actual episode itself than to make Goma look strong when he depowered the form with the third eye, which does serve a point in the episode itself to prove that the third eye was this powerful. But everyone already knew that from its prior performance. But even then, Goma looked like a punk after Purunga just flicked him, right? But the real issue here, like I mentioned, the real issue is just the over-reliance on old material in general. It would definitely be better if the transformation was something different looking, Perhaps even give Goku pointed ears, to show off that Neba's giving him demonic power. Maybe even fangs or even claws, just something new. But I understand why the staff did it. I mean, SS4 is popular. You ain't got to tell me. I love GT. I love SS4. And you guys can tell that from my videos. But you got to make new stars. Look at Ultra Instinct, for example. That was something brand new, but it broke the internet. SS4, yeah, it broke the internet, but it's something everyone's already seen before, And another point I wanted to bring up, this is the last point, the last issue people had, was that people have brought up the point that it just feels like another modern Dragon Ball ASSPULL. And I've seen people bring up the point that SS4 had more meaning or was more earned in GT. And likewise, even Vegito was more earned in the Buu arc. It just made more sense back then. Which just goes to amplify my point. Vegito in Dragon Ball Super and SS4 in DAIMA were done to appease the fans more than anything. Really, Dragon Ball for the last 10 years or so is just that. It's being done to appease the fans. It's a nostalgia act, essentially. That's what Dragon Ball has been. Honestly, way back since the 90s, Dragon Ball GT was a nostalgia act, right? So Dragon Ball's been doing the nostalgia act stuff since the 90s, okay? This stuff has been going on forever, but yes, I do believe more than ever it's using nostalgia as a crutch more than ever nowadays than it was back then. And not in a good way oftentimes, when things just feel like they come out of nowhere and then leave without a trace. A lot of people think if you're going to have Vegito in Dragon Ball Super, have him finish off Zamasu instead of having that, ridiculous ending they ended up having. If you're going to have SS4 in DAIMA, have it finish off Goma. I'm sure they got something better planned. But, if you're going to have these things return to Dragon Ball, have them serve a purpose, right? That's what people really want to say. If you're gonna have some of these things return, like Broly, he served a purpose. Trunks, he served a purpose in his arc. Yeah, people have complaints about it and that the ending and stuff like that, but he still served a purpose. Stuff like even Evil Goku, that's just a fan-made thing and it served a purpose. But that's the whole point. People just want this stuff because it's a story at the end of the day. They just want it to serve a purpose. But the people working on DAIMA and the people who worked on DBS, they know the fan favorites. They know what's popular and they know what's going to make them money and sell merch. Characters like Trunks, Bardock, Evil Goku, Vegito, Gogeta, whatever, you name it. All this stuff dating back to the 90s, they know what works and they're gonna rely on what they know works at the end of the day. It's like, running a business. Are you gonna take a risk on something new that you don't know is gonna work, which you probably should? Or are you gonna go back to old reliable and just hope that works, for the fans? And that's pretty much what they did in this instance. They went back to old reliable. So I hope that helped y'all understand why SS4 was brought into Dragon Ball DAIMA. There's many reasons for it, way more out of the ones that I mentioned, but those are the main reasons and the main complaints and likes that people have had of it. And honestly, you should look at this as a positive, especially if you like GT, because it shows that they use GT as an inspiration. Without GT, this wouldn't exist. DAIMA wouldn't be DAIMA. It would be something different, but it wouldn't be what you're seeing right now. So for a lot of people saying this invalidates GT, no, that's another complaint that people have mentioned, that it invalidates GT. For a lot of people saying that, no, if anything, it shines light on GT. The fact that they brought a transformation from it back. It's like they did the same thing for Trunks and all those other guys. And they're really shining a light on GT. So just remember that. They're shining light on all these different aspects of Dragon Ball. And this is just another one of them. So that's what I'm going to close it out on. Check out the Easter eggs video and the review on Dragon Ball DAIMA episode 18. And I'll see you on the next one.